relationship building when you do it with full faith. And when you know somebody is good as gold, you treat them as good as gold and make sure they know they're good as gold. So it's a real relationship there. That's how you take it forward, because you make them feel it and create the culture where they thrive as well and they grow with you. So you talk to them about their dreams and their goals, and you know what their expectations are. I think it's a real relationship connect.
Yeah.
These relationships are for life, actually. We really love people and we are building real relationships. It's a lot of hard work, actually.
Ladies and gentlemen, Earthlings and Martians, welcome back to the My First Business podcast, where I find mentors for my business and put them behind a mic. Each conversation is designed for you, my dear listener, and for myself to help us improve our businesses and feel a little less lonely on this turbulent journey. My guest for this conversation is Shilpa Kane. Now, what I loved about Shilpa the most is that even though she's a successful business owner, she's not a shark. And her values are just so pure. I mean, you would most likely find her at school fairs with her kids versus sitting in a boardroom devising over-the-top brand improvement strategies that she uses in her business. In fact, she uses her business as an avenue for building a community versus just driving the bottom line. She has her cake and she's eating it too. So, who is Shilpa? Shilpa is the co-founder and managing director of the Apex Clinics Group, which she has been building for the last 7 years with her husband, Ajoy. At Apex, they provide A to Z dental care, or as she calls it, community-friendly dental care for entire families. I mean, for one thing, their young son is now a full-time part of their organization, so they're truly living up to the community theme. They started with one clinic in Motor City in Dubai and have since added 3 more locations in JVC, in DSO, and another branch in Motor City, and they are not looking to stop. Shilpa's got an MBA coupled with a microbiology degree, and prior to starting her business journey, she spent 12 plus years in marketing roles in industries ranging from telecom to airlines. Shilpa identifies herself as a passionpreneur and a mentor who was lucky enough to have found her IKIGAI on this journey. More on that in the episode. Here are some of the topics Shilpa and I discussed. The challenges of finding your Ikigai, knowing the right time to start your business, how your communication can make or break you, working with your spouse and your kids in the business, taking on the right level of risk, why community is a big part of her USP, her unique selling proposition, the best way to use an accountability group, the consequences of wanting to grow your business, having long-standing employees and keeping them, and so much more. This conversation was a really cozy one, which is rare to find with entrepreneurs. Shilpa admittedly was nervous to put herself out there, and she's not used to being in a ton of media, but that's why I love this conversation. There was no pretense, no academic business jargon, just pure passion for the way her and her husband have built their life around their business. I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I did. Without much further ado, here's Shilpa Kane on the EO series of the My First Business podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Entrepreneurs Organization, or EO for short. Since its inception in 1987, EO has evolved into a vibrant global network now boasting 17,000 members across 60 plus countries. Now, just in the UAE, where they've been active since 97, it's especially impressive. They're approaching 150 members, representing an average revenue of $120 million and a combined workforce of 31,000 employees across diverse industries like technology, healthcare, logistics, real estate, jewelry, media services, beauty, food and beverage, and I really could go on and on. EO's strength lies in the support and the opportunities it provides. As an entrepreneur, I understand how solitary this path can be, and that's where EO UAE comes in, offering these invaluable resources through its robust calendar of events, workshops, networking opportunities, and a mentorship program that pairs you with seasoned business leaders. So if you're a business owner in search of a supportive community, rich with networking and structured support through accountability groups and mentors, then EO might be just what you need. Curious about EO? Stay tuned for interviews with EO members on this podcast, including today's guests, just so that you can get a sneak peek of what's in store. For more information and to apply, check out the link in the show notes. Shilpa, thanks for coming on. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you, Naeem, for having me.
I'm so excited, as I mentioned in our pre-recording, to travel on this little boat. We'll be taking a journey through a ton of terrains, maybe land, maybe sea, maybe water, but all around, touching entrepreneurship everywhere that we go. And I've been pondering the best place to start. As I told you, my chronological mind is not very neatly fits in boxes. So I think we can take a journey across time. I'm thinking going back 166 years.
Wow.
So let's go back 166 years. Can you tell our guests and me about Loja Bhairao?
Wow. Where did that come from? You've done your research. You really.
A little birdie told me.
Okay. Okay. So that's actually my great grandfather's business. I'm. You've really caught me off guard.
That's what I wanted. That's how we start.
Okay. So Loja Bhairao, that's my great grandfather's business in Mapsa.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been around that long. It's a trading business.
Is it still active?
It's still active.
Wow.
My dad and my brother run it.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's a special place in my heart when you say, you've totally caught me off guard on this.
Yeah, I know that's fine. This is the exact reaction I wanted.
Okay.
It'll be easier from now.
Yeah, okay. So Loja Bhairao, that's, Portuguese days.
Yeah.
So they used to trade.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we still have some amazing finds in those little chests back down in the warehouses there.
Yeah.
We've grown up looking for those treasures.
Yeah, so you have it in your genes.
Goa, everybody's an entrepreneur in Goa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it because it's a trading port? It's always been a trading port that you find.
That's the culture. There are professionals, of course, but even the professionals end up setting their own entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
At least, of course, there are companies now and it's flourishing. A lot of industries happening. That's now.
Yeah.
But growing up, everybody you knew had either their, mom and pop shop or some trading or a lawyer or a doctor, but they all had their own enterprise.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Well, the way we thought about it is I grew up in a Pakistani household, and every time we'd hear about Goa, it was like the party place. It's like where all of India goes to party. Is that still the same right there, right now?
It still is, but it's developing on all other fronts as well.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Wow, 166-year-old business is hard to find. Like it's hard to get past. Like I've been in 4 years, and I'm thinking, you always have those thoughts about, should we go on? Is this what we're made for? And you have this imposter creep through, and then you hear about these 166-year multi-generational kind of businesses, and you give yourself a little push. But just on that too, have you so far, and be honest, had that feeling, in your business journey? You've been around, Apex has been around now 8 years. You ever felt like shutting it down? Moving on from it?
No, never.
Yeah?
In fact, with Apex, I felt that I've kind of reached and found what I wanted to do. I've never felt it in any job I did so far. It was you were always still looking for, okay, this is not it, but what is it I'm looking for?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't kind of feel right, but you need to do that journey because you need to learn and you can't just, I guess you can jump in. I wish we had jumped in earlier. That's what I can say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But timing is always like out of our control, right?
It's
the
out of our
universe is
control.
conspiring. It's building, I feel like it's building you up to that place. I want to dig into more about this feeling that you're describing where you're feeling fullness, I guess, right? Or I think you've mentioned ikigai in some of your bios as well.
Yes.
Is that like, how would you describe that feeling?
So I just don't feel that going to work is a task, or it's just so natural right now. Anything you do and everything you do is related to the work, and it's not only for me. It's same. We are all in the business together right now. It's me, my husband, my sons are there as well. And I can see they're getting that vibe as well. It's not a task. When you go there, you have such a blast. It's a beautiful day. And it is, I think I felt like I was in a box when I was working. I'm not the kind of person who can be put in a box anywhere, not in life. not
Yeah.
in marriage, not in as a mom, not as in any aspect of my life. I can't be put in a box. I just need my freedom,
Yeah.
and freedom is the biggest word here, actually.
Absolutely.
Creativity, your mind. Nobody tells you what to do. There is no limit to how much you can do.
Yeah.
The day you want to just kill it and work and work and work hard,
Mm-hmm.
and the day you want to balance it,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the freedom.
Absolutely. And I feel you, because our reasons for joining forces together into this business life was, I've talked about it on this podcast. There's three different reasons in hindsight that I can say. One is definitely freedom, freedom of
Mm-hmm.
time, freedom of choosing who to be around, freedom of, taking a walk in the afternoon or a nap. So that was one. The other one for us was money, second. So not the first, not the last, but it was
Mm-hmm.
there. And the last one was creativity. So we wanted to, because as I was telling you before the show, wearing a suit and a tie,
Yeah,
it kind of limits your creativity. You have to play within the boxes. And I'm a bit of a rebel. I think we'll get along in that territory, kind of pushing the edges of what we should be able to
I
do.
get that.
And as long as the business, I feel, satisfies two out of three of these things, freedom, creativity, and money, I feel at peace. Um, I've had a challenge looking at my own ikigai. It feels like too much pressure to find things that you're good at, to find things that you love, to find things that the world will pay you for, and then the world needs. It feels like a bit too much pressure for me, like to get everything always
Yeah,
down. But I like hearing that. I like hearing that freedom to do what you want on your own terms is what's like driving you, right?
absolutely. I think that was the prime motivator, and the timing. I would say the timing it happened. Like I told you, I wish we had done it earlier,
Yeah.
but we really waited till push comes to shove, because the market was changing and we needed, the family decision was, ideally you want to stay in Dubai because Dubai is where you've made your friends and your life and your
Mm-hmm.
network, and you've invested all your um, whatever you have into this place. You want to make it home. You don't want to, you know, base your living here on the jobs you do.
Yeah.
So that story is changing now. So that, I think, kind of pushed us for the time.
Yeah.
And it was, if you don't do it now, you have so many ideas in your head. I remember I think we hung around in really good company.
Mm-hmm.
One of an entrepreneur friend of ours, a very close friend, he used to always say, Shilpa, you have all these ideas, just
Mm.
plunge in, because never find the right time, never find the right place, never find the right. If you have something, you got to try it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to try it.
Yeah.
So I think we kind of the timing when we got into the clinic business, Ajoy, I remember, said, it's now or never. You have it in your head, just he's right there behind, supporting whatever you need, but you got to do it now, because the story of banking is changing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to wake up and smell the coffee. We all
Mm-hmm.
want to stay here. What do we
Mm-hmm.
do? You need to you listen to Warren talking about plan A, B, C. Never rely on a single source of
Mm-hmm.
income.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's one of the brightest tips anyone can ever have. You
Yeah.
cannot rely on, even now we can't rely on one source.
Yeah.
You have to have your multiple streams if you want to secure yourself, your family.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the plan.
Yeah.
So that's the timing. That's the timing. So that's when it happened.
Yeah.
And we kind of preempted that in the next 3 years the landscape will change. You don't want to jeopardize
Mm-hmm.
your current situation, and you want to work
Yeah.
hard and try to ensure
Absolutely.
the continuity.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also the
So
visa dependency, right? That plays a
absolutely,
big role. I think
yes,
Dubai has one of the highest like business owners per capita in the world,
absolutely,
because all of us have in the back of our mind, we really like this place and we'd like
yes,
to stay here.
yeah.
And if my visa runs out every 3 years because it's tied to a job,
You don't want that stress.
you don't want that. Because I
Yeah.
remember, so I was telling you before we started recording, my dad was here in the 70s, right? He used to joke around with us. Almost every other week, he'd come home and he'd ask my mom, "Hey, are the bags ready?" we could be out of here any second,
Oh.
right? Because that's the fear everyone kind of lived in back then. And I have to give credit to Alina for the thoughts that you're mentioning. She was having those thoughts, right? Like, if we're thinking long term, if you want to be here. And a lot of people told us, don't put all your eggs in one basket, which is what I want to ask you about too, that, I should continue to do a job and then she should start the business, which did end up happening. So she gave birth to our business. We call it Digitalina with her name in it. And she got it started, got it profitable. And then we decided, you know what, all eggs in one basket. And we got a bit of a backlash from our culture, right? Like our families, out of concern, out of worries. I'm wondering if how the news was taken by those close to you, that you guys are now joining forces, husband and wife on the business. Was that going to be your only income stream, or did Ajoy plan to work a bit more?
No, this, the stage the business was at, Ajoy's been involved right from the beginning, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, right there behind the back, holding my back.
Yeah.
And he was involved in different aspects of the business right from the beginning, and then full time after he quit the bank. So I think everyone expected it, because you could see, everyone can see this is something you've hit on something which is working. It's successful, and a person like Ajoy of his caliber coming in and joining, it will go to another level.
Yeah.
So I don't think there was anybody who had any doubts about what we're going to do next.
Yeah.
Because it had to be us going forward together.
It was the obvious thing to do.
It was the obvious thing to do. I think there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And you see how the business has propelled itself from 1 clinic to 4 clinics so I think the momentum, much needed momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just was the obvious thing to do, actually. So we had to then tackle what we're going to do with ourselves working together. I think I hear you talking about that all the time.
Yeah.
But that's something we need to manage.
Yeah.
But in terms of how the family was going,
I
mean, we've made a path, and that's the path we need to be on, because you can envision the success in the future. It can only come if we do it together, right?
Yeah, and that's how we feel. Like, we're on the same page as you guys. But it took a bit of convincing for us.
Yeah.
Because I'll take the fall for this. I haven't been always come across as the most mature person to my family, right? I'll always be the young kid who's like messing around and experimenting with life, and I have a bit of a history of experimenting. But I think it all leads to a certain place, like exploring, not committing to something. Like, I did finance for 7 straight years, and after that I just experimented. So to those close to us, it felt like, is this one of your hobbies that you're doing it again? Oh, you're just going to do this for a year, right? You'll go back to the job market. And again, this is out of love and concern from our family, where they said, every time I tell them, the business is not doing well, because there are some months a business doesn't do well. Like, so have you started looking? Maybe there are other opportunities, gets more secure, because that's what they've been fed.
Yeah.
Go to school, get a job, get a promotion, stay there for as long as you can, climb that ladder as much as you can. And we just wanted something different from that. So it took a bit more convincing. But now in 4 years, I think the message is pretty clear that we're doing this together and we're better together.
Yeah.
In fact, last year, 6 months, I took a break out of that business. So I spent more time with the studio business, and I let Alina run the whole thing. And we both miss each other. It was so much that we couldn't wait to get started again. And 2 + 2 is 5 in our case.
Yeah.
I think is it the same for you?
100%. And the other part, I think I've kind of sorted it out in my mind, because don't forget, we have 4 locations. So we can avoid each other if we want to in the day. There's a lot to be done. It's all hands on board.
Yeah.
And you don't want to spend the whole day together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't want to be in each other's face all the time.
Yeah.
So
how much time did you guys take to kind of define each other's roles?
Oh, a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you there now? Like,
yes, I think I can say still waters now. Yeah. But it was quite a rough in the beginning, because there was stuff I used to do earlier. I had to let go, and then you see who does what better. and, step aside. And then I think you focus on getting things done and not on who is doing
Who's
it.
doing it? Yeah.
Yes, because you see the end result.
Yeah.
And I think there were murky waters. And now, I mean, you got to be mature about it and focus on where you're going
Yeah.
and what exactly you want out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And your priorities, family first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you keep realigning
Yeah.
and yeah, there are ways around it. But I think so in our case, like you said, we did get that 3-year time to kind of, make sure everything's going well. And then he was on board, right?
Yeah.
Fully. Of course, he was there from the beginning with everything,
Yeah.
But
In
completely.
the background.
Yes,
yeah,
in the
just,
background, because it's our baby.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we had that little time. I mean, by that time, everyone had the confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a tried and tested business.
So I think because we jumped into it when we did, we got that little cushion.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would have been, I think, in a lot of,
Yeah.
are we doing it right? No. And, you got to pay the bills.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we are self-made.
Yeah.
So everything we've done is
self-taught, self-made.
Yeah, self-taught, self-made. We came, like I told you, we came here
Yeah.
with a 9-month baby.
Yeah.
That's all we came with.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've kind of made our life here. So I think we are pretty proud of ourselves where we are right now. And
yeah, you seem to have you come across as someone who learns by doing.
yes.
Because there's no point overthinking something, and you just get it done, and then the lesson is there.
Yes.
Would that be fair?
Absolutely. I agree with that because,
Yeah.
and then you realize when you look around, not everybody knows what they're doing. They may be, it appears to that everybody knows what they're doing. No, you got to do it, and that's how you learn. And then call in the experts if you're ever in doubt and reach out. Like EO has been a big, guiding light for us, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the member and he's the spouse, but we are both actively involved because that doesn't stop you from, getting your mentors, being active, talking to people, getting your lessons.
Yeah. No, that's we'll come to EO later in the conversation as well. Furthermore, on the spousal business, it's like I don't know what that bias is called, but when you buy a black Honda Civic, everything you see on the road is a black Honda Civic. Our minds are just trained for that. So the moment Alina and I got into business, all we see is couple-led businesses.
Yes.
There's so many of them in Dubai.
All around us. So we're not the only ones.
I know. So I'm going to nerd out about a few things there. Do you guys do board meetings?
Not yet.
No. Is it just hallway conversations?
Yes.
Like a checklist before going to bed kind of thing?
And some conversations we avoid altogether. Don't forget about that. You focus on getting things done and you think about what's good for the clinic. So,
yeah. But there's no structure of like...
we do. We have very efficient communication groups for every activity.
Mm-hmm.
So every part of the business, there are communications group.
Right. So like there could be finance, HR,
yes, so
that
everyone
kind of thing.
has a 360-degree view of what's going on because I think that way you're not... it's a safety thing. Plus, everyone knows it's a well-rounded decision if anyone has any inputs at that stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we all talk to each other in that way.
Yeah.
But
and
but the board meetings, I think that's something we need to get on board. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, I mean, we've been very inconsistent with it.
Yeah.
We've tried, but because of the nature of our relationship, it's hard, right? Like, how do you cut everything out and separate that time? And it's got to be always at the same time. We have a friend who's a consultant that we took on a challenge with him. So he had this challenge last 8 weeks of last year. Bring a goal to me, a SMART goal, and then we'll work on it as a challenge together. We meet as an accountability group once every week. And he had a great format of how he ran that call, that accountability call, very similar to the EOA style. And we found so much benefit in the way that he did it that even though we're not doing the challenge anymore, now Alina and I have the same time every week booked. And touch wood, so far this year, we've attended all our meetings and we're following the structure. It's a pretty simple structure. What did you do last week? What's on the agenda this week? Anything in your way? And these 3 questions we have to answer, both of us, and we get 15 minutes each. And out of that, a lot comes. But my annoyance, I don't know if you're like this, but my annoyance comes from I'm going down the stairs in my house and there's a conversation happening about something about the business, but we don't write it down and there's no follow up for that. Or we'll be driving somewhere and I'll blurt out something, an idea or something to do, and then there's no reconciliation of that. I'm trying to avoid that as much as I can. So I'm trying to be this year a bit more hard ass with Alina. Be like, it's not the time. 11:30 Friday, can you bring this up? Or write it down and we'll bring this up.
I'm nodding so much because I've been through that. It was a disaster.
Yeah.
It was a disaster. We've stopped doing that. Keep all communication on the group, as in business communications, on the groups.
Yeah.
So everyone knows and everyone can give their inputs. There's enough respect and enough, consideration for each other. And we also have another business partner, right? Which we've not mentioned in the conversation so far. Yeah. So he's a very dear friend of ours. He's Dr. Arvind Kittur. So he's also on the group. So we kind of, everything's on paper, but dinner conversations, no, it's just, I think we've learned our lesson the hard way. And we've not really decided not to talk about it, but both have realized that we will not talk about it.
Yeah.
It's just, that's the way it's worked out now. So
and it depends on personalities too, right? So Alina is the kind of person, I give her credit for that you could have a passing comment in a conversation and she will remember it and she'll remember the essence and she'll take action on it the next day or like the closest moment. I'm a bit careless like that. So I'll hear something, I'll agree it's a good idea, but then I'll forget about it. My memory doesn't serve me well unless it's written down and I have it.
No KPIs associated with it.
Exactly, right? So that's why, like, to honor me, she's now agreed to do this, like everything in writing. So we have now a rule: if it's not written, we didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
So whether it's in a communication channel that we use or our ERP that we manage our business in, it has to be written down somewhere.
Yeah.
And whenever the other person gets to it, they get to it. And we have like some SLAs for each other, like 24 to 48 hour response that we give to each other. But it's a work in progress. We're figuring things out. And are you at a place where you think you figured out communication well, or are you 80% there?
I think we're 80% there.
Okay.
Not it's much easier situation now rather than from when we first started, because don't forget, we both come from different kind of corporates. I mean, I was more casual, more friendly, and banking is a totally different ball game. So we came from 2 different setups.
Yeah.
And I think we've kind of found our
middle ground.
Yeah, middle ground now. And it's working well. And then we had the third person coming into the equation. We've got our 25-year-old who joined. So there's a lot of, I think you have to think about all this and how it's going to impact your family life.
Yeah.
And how do you keep it out there.
Yeah.
So that's, I think it's panning out pretty well, I would say now.
I can nerd about this forever because Alina and I we admire family businesses. We always want to have one. Yeah. We don't know. We don't have kids yet, but we don't know if they will ever take it from us.
Yeah.
But we still want to set it up in a way that if something can last generations, 166
absolutely.
years, I would love to have.
And he seems to be enjoying, being a part of it. He's inspired. He chose to be here, and he wants to be a part of it. So we have to respect what kind of an experience we give him as well. So so I would say 80% there.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. We'll talk more about that.
Yeah.
But you mentioned also something around the 3-year mark where you felt like this is what I want to do. Do you remember a moment or a series of moments when you realized we've made the right decision by going into this business? Was that from day one? Was that a series of events? Like, what was your we've made it moment? Like, this is going to be our life moment for you guys. At what part in the journey did that arrive?
I think right from the beginning, you know that you're in the right place and you're doing the right thing, and there's no other place you can be. I think I can say that I think it's the confidence and the no fear also came from the fact that Ajoy was in the stable because of the cushion we had.
Mm-hmm.
So that didn't give any time for any fear or any kind of second guessing yourself. This was it. Okay, this, and you're just busy acting every day. So you have to act. There's no time to think about what ifs and if not, or what any buts there.
Yeah.
Okay, this is it. You've plunged in and you know what you need to do every day.
Mm-hmm.
And you just get up and show up and do what you have to do, and things fall in place. Unless you have a really bad spell of, luck, I would say, you do your best.
Yeah.
So we've been all in it and hands-on. And that, in fact, we were, I would say 100% of our life was Apex at that point of time.
120 maybe.
Yeah, there was nothing else to it. We put everything else and we focused, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So there was no buts or ifs, or you just had to make it work now that you're in,
Yeah.
Yes.
That's been a bit of a downfall for Lena and I. We've had periods of self-doubt that are pretty toxic. So we feed off each other's energy, right? And every business partner feeds off the other business partner's energy. And we're very lucky that, if she's feeling down, I'm feeling very excited. Or if I'm feeling down, she's feeling very excited. There are moments where we're both feeling down, right? It could be a host of different reasons. It could be that we had a pretty terrible month, or our clients are being a-holes to us, or there's too much competition and we look and feel like everybody else. And we have all these reasons why we start doubting ourselves. But then there's always that moment that comes in where you say like, oh, this is what we decided to do. We're overthinking this. One day at a time, one task at a time.
Yes.
Eye on the North Star.
Yes.
Like
just simplify it.
Just simplify it. Because I think we have that disease and we're getting better with it as time progresses. Because we've had to deal with like our own impostery for the longest time. But now we've almost like burned the ships. We got to the island, we just burned the ship.
That's it. This is what we do.
I'll tell you the language that I use. I used to say in my first few years when I was doubting myself that, hey, I'm still pretty employable. If this doesn't work out, I'll go and do something else. The language now is I am absolutely unemployable. I will not end up in that place. So the ships are burnt. I'm on this island now. Now I have to find food here. And I have to live here and make a life here one way or the other. And find, like, I think I want to find my 8-year mark. Because if you do something for 8 years consistently, it becomes such a big part of your recent history of life that I think the compounding just lasts forever then.
Thank you for telling me that. We're almost there.
Yeah. That's it.
We're going to be 8 in November. So
it's funny because on this podcast, I've mentioned the 8-year target like a bunch of times.
Wow.
In these 40 interviews, I've always mentioned like, and this is what I tell Alina, I'm like, I don't care if we're not super profitable now. I want to be around for 8 years. After that, we'll see if we want to take over the world.
Yeah.
But can we survive for 8 years? Can we learn every year? Can we grow every year? Let's take a hit for a few years. It's fine. We'll find something. But once we cross that like 8-year mark, I feel like we will be unstoppable. That's the hope.
Yeah.
Versus the new age of kids thinking like, oh, I got a business in 2 years. I got to be a millionaire. Right? How do you feel about that though, by the way? Like when you're looking at entrepreneurs, you're part of EO where some of the most mature entrepreneurs exist, some of the longer term thinkers. Then you're working with your son who's at an age where he's hearing everyone becoming millionaires in 1 year or 2 years of hard work. Do you have those conversations with him?
We do. As a family, I don't know if it's where we come from or what our values are as a family. We're not, yes, of course, we want security and we want that longevity of the business, etc. But money isn't the main motivator. And I think even for him, because to tell you frankly, he's working for us at the age of 25.
Yeah. Pro bono?
Not pro bono. But you would think he'd want more.
Yeah.
But he's so happy. Mm-hmm. I think what motivates him is the process as well and where we are taking it, the vision. Mm. So that's what moves him forward as well. And in my vision, I see security because I know what we've built has a very, very strong foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So I do not feel that insecurity at this stage. So, but it's not a fast way up the ladder, actually.
Yeah.
You've seen that. So you just enjoy the path. We have a profitable company.
Yeah.
So it's only going to go up from here. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't feel I mean, that's the spirit which takes me forward, very frankly. If
Yeah.
I think of the other side, I
Yeah.
don't know how that's going to be, but this is the way I think. I can only see a solid foundation, and
Yeah.
we are doing things right. And yes,
Yeah.
it's only going to go up from here.
I love to hear that because, like
Yeah.
current media, let's say what that generation is consuming has forgotten this, like that. And correct me if I'm wrong or if I'm trying to phrase this. Our philosophy, let's say combined, is business as a way of life, right? Like it's not the way to make money, but it's a philosophy on living. Like,
It's a purpose.
right. It's the purpose, right? Like
Yes.
it isn't a means to an end to something else. It is the thing.
It is the thing. Yes.
It is the thing. And that is not very evident in like the new age kind of what's been told to these kids on how to like, indoctrination that's happening. Because that's in my generation when I was younger, the indoctrination was get a degree from a good university, get a job. And that was the whole indoctrination. And now it's like, hey, start a business, get $1 million in a year. So I like hearing this, that it's not always about that. In fact, if you think about that too much, you're going to stress yourself out and quit as well. But if you find your purpose in other means and enjoying the journey of it.
Absolutely. And we're focusing a lot on the learning, and every day is so exciting because there's a learning in everything you do. So I think that's very motivating, and I can see even him, he's motivated by that. He's motivated by the small wins every day, and so I guess we are in the right direction.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. But you were talking about ideas and whether you felt that this was not the right thing and you want to do something else. But I do feel it's the right thing, but I have started thinking of other things.
Shiny object syndrome.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like ideas coming in. Now we are all there and there's a little time. And so the thought process has started. There's a little worm somewhere, putting in these ideas. That's, you can do more. How about this idea? How about this? So I think that shouldn't stop you from doing more.
Yeah.
Even though you feel like this is great.
I know, but that's so the battle jam about that, because we're having a battle about that. Hello, everyone. I want to take a moment to share something that's really, really close to my heart. As you know, this podcast isn't just a series of episodes. It's you and I getting mentored by the wisest of the wisest. Each episode is crafted with care, aiming to bring not just stories, but wisdom and insight into the fascinating and sometimes lonely world of entrepreneurship. This is more than just a podcast. It's a personal mentorship session recorded on camera for all of us to learn and grow together. And this is where you come in. If any episode has resonated with you, your subscription or your vote means the world to me. Every subscription lights a fire inside of me and fuels me to keep delivering content that I wish had existed before I started this podcast 2 years ago. So I humbly ask for your support. Please hit pause now and find that subscribe button on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you're listening to this. It's a small action for you, but it means everything to me. Thank you for being a part of this community and for your support and for choosing to walk this path with me. Stay curious and stay inspired. Thank you so much. I picked up this book called 4,000 Weeks. So it's apparently if you live for 80 years, that's how many weeks you have on Earth. And it's a book about looking at time of your life and how much you can impact. And we're in this new age where possibilities are endless. We're aware of all the possibilities because we hear about them and we're well connected and we're talking to everyone and everything seems within reach. It's just an idea. We just need to take the first step. And you end up taking on more or setting yourself all these goals, which you kind of half-ass your way through versus leaving your one thing, right? Like go back olden days. If you're a carpenter, your next few generations, you're just going to be carpenters. That's it. That's your one thing.
Yeah.
And you're the expert at that. And that's it. There's no more thinking. your son is a carpenter, his son is a carpenter, and so on. And we're living in this age where ideas are abound, resources are almost unlimited. The drive is there. We can find people, resources, time to do all of the things we want. But maybe the people who win are the ones that say no more often than yes. And this is what I'm toying with.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about like these
I'm
new
actually
opportunities?
feeling the 7-year itch now.
Oh, okay.
As in, you're confident, what you have is, I don't know what I'm going to do about it because these are all ideas to 2024 ideas. So I have a few like, and then you feel the passion and you feel the energy. And if you do something about it, maybe it'll happen. So
are they vastly different from your
vastly
current?
Different, like it's in sustainability, education.
Oh.
So I have, then I feel, I feel that I'm a very creative person. I don't know what the other person on the other side
That's
feels.
for you to judge.
Yeah.
Creativity is a self-judged thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are, I think, things going on in my mind, and
Okay.
I hope to give fruition to some of them and not necessarily take the attention from here because, see, I'm very process oriented. So you can kind of structure and, secure, and then we are all of us. The joy is there, I'm there,
Yeah.
Doc is there, and
Yeah.
so
But your current business or the clinic business, again,
yeah.
it in itself is you can almost infinitely add on more services.
Yes.
Because you have the clinic banner.
That's exciting as well.
Over time, it can evolve as a brand that has a few things or can have sub brands and stuff like that. But it's closer to what you are. And now you're talking about something that's completely off the thing. So is a function of being able to get there. Do you feel like Apex, your current clinics, can run without your time, attention, and care?
No, not at all. Not at all. You'll have to kind of. So I'm just saying I have these ideas in my head. I still don't know what I'm going to do about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not
You're
going to
bringing them to life here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. When you put it out in the world, it just comes to life. But
I'll reshare this video with you a year from now. Like, remember you were talking
spoke
about things?
this.
Yeah.
This is how the clinic idea came as well, I remember. And you wouldn't in the wildest dreams think it would actually kind of, manifest itself the way it has done.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Sometimes you just get the power, but I think we allow ourselves these little bursts of energy to,
to keep things fresh.
Keep things fresh, yes.
Absolutely.
So let's see. I'm open to it.
Yeah.
But the clinic is the mainstay. I mean, that keeps being the, the place, your purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think we were so, I wouldn't say fed up. I keep bringing that up. And we had a tough last year. And the rethinking that we're doing this year is that no matter what other businesses we do in life, because we will do more, this will be always in the background. Yes. Our first will always be there, and I want it to last forever. And I don't want to sell it. I don't want to get rid of it. I don't want to shut it down. I just want to keep it. No amount of money. Actually, I might change my mind on that. There's a price for everything.
Okay, we'll watch this in a year.
Yeah, we'll watch this in a year as well. But I'm going to, as we are on this journey and we're on the highway, I'm going to take a little exit into a different conversation. Okay. You'll find that I do switch topics quite terribly. But let's talk about people.
Okay.
So let's say you found good people. And we always know when we found good people. As entrepreneurs, we go off our gut, we go off a few things, but we find good people. My question is what have you learned about retaining those good people, right? Keeping them around for longer. And how do you think about, retaining that person now versus what you used to think when you first started? And how that has evolved for you? Or I wouldn't call it retention strategies, but that's a way to think about it. Like, how do you go on making sure people stay with you for as long as possible?
So I think the simple answer to that would be creating the culture. And when it's the relationship building, which you do, and you do it with full faith. And when you know somebody is good as gold, you treat them as good as gold and make sure they know they're good as gold. So it's a real relationship there. And that's how you take it forward, because you have to acknowledge, you make them feel it,
Yeah.
and create the culture where they thrive as well and they grow with you.
Yeah. Do you set out like a plan with them of like, you know, help them see if you continue to be as good
Yes.
as you are, where you can kind of end up? And
So you talk to them about their dreams and their goals, and you know what their expectations are. I think there's a connect, there's a real connect. It's not like a meeting and you say, okay, you do this and I do this. It's not like that. I think it's a real relationship connect.
Yeah.
I think we get far too involved, and that's part of our culture.
Yeah.
So, and the way we look at it, these relationships are for life, actually. So that's, it's to do with the why, what you're doing it in the first place. This is the process, this is the path, and you are creating this. They're not like employees going to come in and go somewhere. Even if they go, you look at it as relationships you've built along the way.
Yeah.
And you look at how they want to progress and what aspirations, dreams they have for themselves. So you have to be there cheering them for their wins.
Yeah.
Even if it means moving from here to elsewhere. I think that's a relationship continuing at a different level.
Absolutely.
They're people, and they're real people. And I think we as a whole, the management, when I say the management, we really love people and we are building real relationships. It's a lot of hard work, actually.
It is. It's
It
not
is.
easy. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we can do it when the organization is at this size, and when we move to the next level, it may change, or we may need to evolve and be different. But right now, this is how our heart is into these relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are around 50-ish people right now, right?
Yes.
So I remember I joined a startup in Canada, and we were about 50 odd people, a tech company. And I remember the company was about, number 8 is coming again, it was 8 years old, 9 years old. And the founder and the CEO still interviewed every single one and managed to have a good relationship with every person.
Yeah.
First name basis. Like you'd catch her in the hallway, she'd remember what you said last or what you're working on. And like there'll always be a little bit of that in there. And that was really beautiful to see. And I gotta give kudos to Nancy Peterson, if you're ever listening. Setting that culture is not easy, because it also sometimes comes against, I'm a numbers guy, right? And Alina is a people person. And we've always kind of done that separation. Some things don't make sense on the Excel as they do with the people.
Yes, true.
Right? So there's an intangible value
Yes.
that people bring with them. And we're happy to pay more sometimes just so that we can show our love and affection. But because we're building a remote team, so all of our staff is remote, that culture building, we're going to have to like innovate on how to do that. We're planning.
That can be a challenge, right?
Yeah. So like we have a big concentration of employees right now in South Africa. We're thinking end of this year, we all go down or we go to Cape Town. We rent a house for like a month or so, and we all kind of live together and work together and just get to know everyone on that kind of basis too. But that culture building, you're right, it's not. Let's think about it from our corporate careers, right? You worked at big companies, I've worked at big companies, and you feel like a number. You have these HR meetings, as you were describing, like someone's drawing a chart for you. But yet, when I remember what kept me at some of these companies was like a big brother mentor talking to me, or like my first boss, she used to take me out for walks and coffee, and like that is what I remember. Not the boardroom meetings where like we're charting out your plan and you've got 3 stars here and 4 stars here and we're going to move you up in this level and this is your weakness and this is your strength. It was more heart to hearts.
Yeah, so that's, a lot of people say that's the way forward. But maybe at a different stage. And actually, I'm taking something from you here in this conversation as well, that, it can be done in corporates as well in that. So you would probably have to have, if the culture is there, then hopefully you do it for the ones who and they do it for it continues.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
it's
waterfall effect.
It's like what they do in the army, right? Because they're split up into all these different factions, and everyone has their own things. But you're given the sense and the responsibility to other people to do what you were doing to them. So you become the big brother, you become the big sister. So we have, that's what we're thinking. Like our most senior person, we're now gonna coach him and train him to become the big brother to the new ones that are coming in. And that's what happened at the corporates that I was at. Someone had passed down the values to someone that act as big sister or big brother to the next one. And you as a founder and owner spend time with them, and they then spend time in the same way, you hope, in the same way that you do going forward. So it'll be interesting to see once you guys
grow
double to 100,
yes.
what that structure looks like, and who your champions are, and what role they kind of play.
So now it comes to your real personalities, and it's easy to implement because we do like people, and it just happens organically. I think it's all built there, and everyone knows who's getting married, who's having a baby, what's happening next, who's having a tough time. You are having your eyes on the ball, and so
I mean, you guys have essentially a family business where you don't have to be a biological member of the family to be a part of the family, right?
Yes.
So when I don't know, I'll talk to Ajoy about his like suit and tie experiences. But my suit and tie experience, the first one that I had, was a company that was bought by a Fortune 500 company, but they left us alone, right? So they didn't infuse their corporateness into us. And we'd be on the Wall Street of Canada, was Bay Street. We'd be on a Bay Street office, commuting with the same dead penguins, as we used to call them, because it's black suit and white tie. Everyone looks like a penguin. And as soon as I entered the office, warmth, love, energy, family vibes, because it was a startup that grew really hard, but we never left our culture. And I just remember feeling so comfortable there. And everywhere I've gone, I've searched for that. I've searched for that family feeling.
When you say that, the USP of our clinic actually is that we are that community-friendly clinic, We that's the way we started it, and that's the vibe we kind of wanted to create, that you're just not the patient when he walks in. You're not just a number on a file in some huge big organization. Nobody knows when you came and went. No. When you come in, it's the community-friendly spirit you're going to experience. And that's, I think, it came with the culture we created. So automatically the staff percolate the same culture down to the patients. And then you see them. I remember reading these reviews, and they were actually talking about this, what we are having this conversation about. They spoke about it in writing on a review, and all of us couldn't get over it because, you always question yourself, how are you going to test it? Okay, this is what we set out to do. And is that really going that way? And then, you know what, guys, they can feel it too. It's working.
Yeah.
It's not doctored, or it's not, that is the vibe.
Engineered.
Yes, it's not engineered. In fact, the vendors, when they come in, it's the same. It's like all, all the guys associated with the business.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it creates a sticking point back to our original conversation for people to stay longer, right? Because it's going to be hard for companies to replicate that.
Yes.
Right? It's not, it's such an organic thing that you can't, as you said, doctor it or engineer it.
Yes.
And some people don't get it, right? Like, again, respect for people who have their goals. Let's say they have financial goals that we can't meet. We're a new small business that sometimes we can't meet someone's financial goals, but they always keep in touch.
Keep in touch.
They miss the vibes.
And you celebrate their successes.
Of course, yeah. And we don't want to hold anyone back from their successes.
Absolutely.
We've had one of our first ever superstars. We were so happy that she's leaving, and sad at the same, bittersweet, because as much as we wanted to keep her, she was a young, budding, full of energy, great ideas, reliable, always a smile on her face. But we knew she's worth something more. She'd be a better fit at something much bigger where her full talent range can be utilized properly. At the same time, it felt so bitter because
Yeah.
she's our first favorite. And Ishita, if you're listening, we miss you. Okay, now we've jumped onto a different conversation again. So, as new entrepreneurs, Alina and I get tons of advice. And I strongly believe that some of the advice we receive is terrible. Going back to your point about, how people make it feel like they know what they're doing, but no one knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And we've come to realize that really quickly. It gives us a lot of confidence. No one knows what the heck is going on.
No one knows what they're doing.
When you guys were starting out, what was some bad advice that you remember receiving and just being like, no, that's not good advice? Or what do you think there's common advice that entrepreneurs get that I can safely ignore? Like something that is commonly out there and you see that entrepreneurs are being given this advice and it's not good advice. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
We've been told a bunch of times to drop our values and take any client on, right? If the client's coming with the money, take them on.
Yeah.
Don't worry about fit and all of that kind of things. And for us, it's been a terrible mistake. We can't work with people we don't like. That are our clients. If our clients can't be our friends, we don't know how to work with them. So that's like one terrible piece of advice. Do you remember any from your early days or even now?
So, when we were positioning ourselves, I think there was a lot of advice. No, there's so many clinics out there. Basically, the pricing and all that. We were like, no, we're not interested in that. We are creating something here. It's an experience. It's a service.
Like you should match the price, lower pricing of other
clinics.
Yes,
because there's a lot of wars and, you know what's happening in the market, but that's not really you. So, but there was a sense of what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it. So we were like, okay, thank you. We'll think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you do what you have to do.
Yeah. We get similar things too about, drop your rates, drop your rates. Because we get this and we just look at who's giving the advice.
Yes.
And then we look at their business. Like they are in a race to the bottom, right? And they will have to find different ways to innovate because they can't innovate on current products. So they just innovate on lower prices. And for the long term, I just feel like it's a spiral that no one wins.
Yeah.
Neither you nor your competition. We've safely tried to ignore that. So this is a message to everyone: raise your prices and keep them high. If you believe in it, like if you actually believe
and
that
if you know what you're
value.
offering, I mean, you know the expertise you're offering and you know what is differentiating you.
Yeah.
You're doing it right. Just take your time, do it properly. You know what your positioning is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we were very strong about that.
Were you like that from the get-go?
The get-go, yes, because once you can't come back once you're there. It's not
true.
like, oh, let me try this and then let me come back. No, you're creating an aura around whatever it is you're providing, right? We're a service provider. We're giving them the experience. This is the competencies of our surgeon. This is how we value the people we have on board. And we see that, and plus we are not priced out of the roof, actually. We chose a medium pricing. So I don't think, I think it's a good spot for us. It's a sweet spot for us.
Yeah.
So we know people have priced, the dentist, how the vision of the dentist is. Dentists will empty your pockets. I think that's, everybody has that perception. So we chose to move away from that as well consciously. So we've positioned ourselves as a mid-range, we are not like the Jumeirah prices. We are not like the, say about Dubai prices. So we have our own sweet spot. We know the service we're giving. We know the experts we have on board.
Yeah.
And we've created that niche for us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So that's the place we want to be.
I think the analogy that comes to mind is, as you're describing this, the one that we use with our clients is of cars. You say, like, you want to go from point A to point B, a Toyota Corolla can get you there.
Yes.
But for some reason, you choose to drive a BMW. However, even a Lamborghini can do that, get you from point A to point B.
Yes.
There's a reason why you pick what you pick.
Absolutely.
Right? Why you pick that particular thing that you're driving when there's a cheaper option there. Maybe it's safety, reliability, maybe it's brand name, maybe it's intangible, maybe it's social status. You're chasing something with that. And if you just want to get your tooth done or teeth done, like, yes, there's all these options.
Absolutely.
But, it's really up to your values and how you want to be seen or seen to yourself as well. And because when people say like, hey, your prices are too high, like, compared to what?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if you walk into a BMW showroom today and be like, hey, Toyota is cheaper than this car, why are you guys charging or charging more than Toyota? They'll laugh you out, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So
you've got to know your worth. You have your specialists, and
that's it.
you know what you provide.
Yeah. There's a lot of, in service-based businesses, there's a lot of intellectual value at play here. The experience of the dentist, the places that they've been before, the kind of cases that they've seen.
The continuity. Plus, we have a very holistic environment, It's not one single guy treating you.
Yeah.
It's like they're going to talk to each other. If there's a slight difference in, you need some more valuable advice from the specialist. It's not like we're going to send you bouncing off to 5 different people. No, they talk to each other. They give you the best solution. You're not going to get this if you just, replicate us with somebody else.
Yeah.
So we have built the center around that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not a commodity, right? Like, I get it if it's just like a Kit Kat bar.
Yes.
Kit Kat bar is a Kit Kat bar. There's no, once you get it, you know exactly what you're getting. But when you walk into a service provider like yours or us, your case will be looked at completely differently than the person who walked in before and the person that will walk in afterwards.
Yeah.
Right? So just to have that intellectual value priced in, it makes sense. Versus people who do the volume business, where they'd be open 24 hours a day and you'd come anytime, it'd be cheaper and would make you wait for 30 minutes until you get your thing. And we don't know if you'll have all your teeth by the end of this or not. No, prices are definitely a thing that we think about a lot. In fact, this year we've undermined our own value by just looking for experience, but now we have the experience and things and accolades to justify, at least to ourselves, that we're worth a bit more. I want to switch gears again. Risk taking. So we've had this chat about you exploring new ideas. Now you're having the 7-year itch.
Yeah.
We've explored you going from corporate to business. What's your appetite for risk? How has it been generally? How do you view risk? And it's an open-ended question. You can take this as you want, but what's your philosophy on risk taking?
I think calculated risk taker. I definitely have a risk appetite, but there are certain things I will make sure are in place which will not be impacted with that risk. So it will not stop me from considering the risk taking.
Yeah. And are you on the same page as your husband on that?
You'll have to ask him.
What's your verdict on his risk taking?
I think he'll calculate a lot as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the middle ground.
You balance each other, I think.
Yeah.
So when you're a bit unsure, maybe he will give you the push. And, you power each other when you are in doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's put this in context. What's the riskiest thing you've done at your time at Apex?
I thought you were going to say life. I would have said skydiving.
Well, now we know.
Yeah, skydiving. We did that. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was a risk taker there. And he was afraid of heights, I remember. And he really pushed himself to throw himself out of the jump out. You have to jump out.
This is before having kids or after?
Now we celebrated our 20th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we went to New Zealand and that was the thing to market, Okay, let's jump.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so that's risk taking. Apex, we take risks all the time. And it's risks up to how much we can handle in terms of without endangering the running of the main operations. So we know what this is the core, this is what you're going to do. But we are a polyclinic, so we keep trying different things depending on the people, the people the market has to offer. If there's a department you want to try, we're willing to invest in it, give it a shot, see if we are good at it, see if that's what the patients are accepting us to do. And we do it all the time. And this is an ongoing process. And it helps because something works, something doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I think if you're not a risk taker, it's not going to happen. You can't stay put and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
That's a evolving situation
Yeah.
constantly, and we are willing to take the risk.
Yeah.
There is a financial risk involved, but we take the risk in a way that it doesn't impact the main business.
Like you won't be out on the street
Absolutely.
if you lose at this rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like during COVID, actually, we focused purely on the dental. I saw a lot of people in healthcare, like they've made the bucks, jumping on the COVID bandwagon.
Mm-hmm.
But we weren't willing to touch the dental business because this is our core. And I know that the perception of a COVID patient walking in any way would impact the what your expectation as a patient coming to a dental clinic.
Yeah.
So there are two different things, and you had to manage. And so I think we didn't really jump on that bandwagon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we take calculated risks with the business, but we are constantly trying new things because that's the only way to evolve and grow.
Right.
Yes.
Otherwise, stagnation happens.
Stagnation plus it's just your personal way of running things as well. You cannot just be there, just still waters. No,
if you wanted that, you could do a job.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. So you constantly want to innovate. You want the latest equipment. You want to upgrade. You want to get in different kinds of people. So it's always a risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like with us, I hold Alina back a lot. Maybe for good reason. She's an extreme risk taker. With the business, at least, she has great ideas, right? But because the ultimate numbers responsibility falls on me, and I look at life from a very dark glass most of the time, but it saved us a lot too. So that's how I justify it to myself. But the combination ends up being the worst. If it were up to me, I'd never start anything.
Okay.
That's just my personality. I'm not good going from 0 to 1. Alina's very good at 0 to 1. I'm good at 1 to N, which is when you have something, how do you make it even better? And so operationally or adding to it, that I can do. So this was my career as well before joining the business. Was I was given roles that were 1 to N. We have this thing, make it much better. And that's where Alina's weakness arises. She 1 to N, like I'm better than her and that. And she won't mind me saying that because we talk about this all the time. So when it comes to risk taking, she'll present all these like things like, "What, you should do this, we should do that, we should do this now." And my job is always to take one idea, tear, throw, one idea, tear, throw. And I think the combination works really well because there's both ends of the spectrum. It's like a barbell.
There's
and it's
a
like
balance.
Perfectly balanced out. There are weird moments where I take risk. I like taking physical risks as well, especially with something involving like something physical. And she's very like reserved about those kind of things. However, she's the one who's been skydiving and not me. But yeah, I totally agree. I think if you don't put something on the line, how are you going to grow?
Yeah, you want to grow. I mean, we're not happy with not growing.
Yeah, plus we get the itch, right?
Yes, absolutely.
The boredom starts to settle in.
Yes.
And that's where I can see that inner creativity in you.
Yeah.
Creativity is what? It's giving creation to something or bringing something into creation,
Yes.
right? It doesn't have to be like art or anything like that. Like people practice in business all the time.
Yeah. So even when we set up a new center, that's being creative as
Of
well,
course.
So that keeps us happy, keeps us motivated when we're, out there just trying something new. And
It gives you a chance to rethink your model
absolutely,
too, right?
yeah.
Or how would this space be? Like how would the vibes flow through here?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a risk, you choose the location. Is it the right one? I think you're constantly weighing which risks you want to take.
Yeah.
When is the right time?
Yeah.
Are we ready?
Who gets final veto on something to go ahead or not?
I think so when I said we don't have board meetings, I think I may have been wrong because it may have not been a formal kind of an environment. We do sit around and, trash out ideas and discuss and look at the numbers with the CFO and,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we do things after discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, is there one of you that gets a final say, or like there's a round of convincing until both of you, well,
I
three
think
of
we
you
both
get
have
like,
to be, everyone
yeah,
has to be on board.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, because
Yeah. Then nobody gets the blame, right?
yeah, yeah. There are certain things that I've taken like a strong stance on, and I said
Yeah.
if it fails, then it's
Yeah.
my fault. Like saying no to this. If we kick ourselves 3 years from now, it's on me.
Yeah.
But let's not do this. But yeah, I think 99% of times, so we're pretty similar. We
Yeah.
engage,
And you
engage,
do end
engage.
up kind of, you see the numbers, you do end up
Yeah,
coming to a reasonable
yeah.
agreement.
Because
Yeah.
the key ingredient there is respect for each other
Yes,
too,
absolutely.
right? You respect and you take just objectively the information that's been given to you by the other person about their idea, and then if you have an objection, whether it's financial or something like that, you respectfully show it and lay it out, and the other person respectfully
Yeah.
listens.
And I think we don't hold each other back in that
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
It's like, let's try it. Let's give it a shot.
Mhm. Yeah. No,
Bring it
I'm
on.
the constant challenger. I'm like, are you sure? You sure? So I'll try to loosen up, Alina. I'm sorry. Okay. Talked about risk taking. We'll talk about EO for a second. So you were, for people that might not know EO, we'll describe it for them, or with your help, we'll describe it. But you joined in on the accelerator program first.
Yes, I did.
And it was only a few years ago. How was your experience of an accelerator versus now like a full EO member? What are the differences that you're seeing in your levels of growth?
I think the timing was perfect for where you are at that point in the business. I needed to be in EOA, in the accelerator, and I think it was amazing at that point of time because I think you've heard this before, right? It focuses on the 4 main pillars. So I needed those pillars at that point of time because at the end of the day, you are new entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And you don't want to, screw things up on some of the most important,
The foundational things.
yes, foundational things. So it's great to have guidance and mentors and, coaches to tell you, hey, guys, you've got everything covered. Or if you've missed this one here, or this is how I suggest you do this. So you know what everyone else is doing. You know what's in the market. I think I would say I have a lot of gratitude for that experience at that stage in our business. So it was fantastic.
Yeah.
I would recommend it. And then came COVID, and then it went to so
hell in a handbasket.
yes. So the whole peer interaction thing, I think that's fantastic. So moving on to the EOA, now I've been I've been an EO member now for it's the 3rd year going. It's going to be 3 years soon.
What area have you found the most growth when you joined
The learning.
EO?
I just am a total learning nerd. You mentioned that yourself.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
So, in fact, Sushant's the president, right? He says he's going to call me the mascot now because I'm there at every learning session.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't, it has so much to offer actually. If my schedule allows it, I will try not to miss the learnings.
Yeah.
And the more you don't know about the learning session, the more I'm motivated to go.
What do you mean?
Like there's sometimes a topic comes up and you have absolutely no clue about what it's about.
Yeah.
And
it'll be something like anti-fragility and you're like, I don't know what that is. And you'll show up.
I think the more that I'll say, okay, Shilpa, give it a shot, turn up, you may learn something new. And you go there and then sometimes you're blown away, because, you haven't really got everything covered in your current life. There's so much out there. So much out there in terms of learning and experiencing. So I am very, very open to that. And that's where I get my energy from, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I know, just being in a room of people, for a moment you'd feel like smarter than you, that they know something you don't.
Yes.
And whether they are on the giving end or the receiving end, and just being around that energy, I think it really fires us up, doesn't it?
Fires you up. And when the interactions happen, there's a lot you never know you can contribute, and you listen to others. So that in itself is a very, very, it's a charged room,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think to be in that space is what EO is all about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of our goals, is to be an EO qualified business. And
Yes.
when we get there,
We were very proud of ourselves when we made that jump.
yeah, I
Yes.
think that's going to be like the medal. Like I usually don't look for medals in life, but
Yes,
that's one medal
absolutely.
that I do
Yeah.
want. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
we made it into EO, and the relationships too, right? Like before we started recording, like
Yes.
these people also start becoming like your family, because I think the selection or the curation of people in EO, there's something special about that too, right? Like there's some sort of a homogenous kind. Now that I've talked to 15 or so
Yeah.
of members in EO,
Can you join the dots?
there's a common theme. I can't put words to it,
Yeah.
but I can always compare to other things I've experienced in my life, other mastermind groups or other this and that. There's a very human element to how you run business or how you think of business. It's not just a financial endeavor. It is a very way of existing that is important. Like your internal self is a lot more front and center in this community than I've seen anywhere else. Would that be fair to say? Is that?
Yes, it is. I think because it's not only about the business, it's about, you'd see something absolutely, that things, traumatic times were happening. They are happening around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then, they may give you an experience which can help you through those times as well, deal with something, what you're going through as a community. So it's not necessarily about business learning all the time, but it kind of balances your different zones.
Yeah.
So I think in that sense, it's a lot, there's a lot more human side to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everyone's, I think, getting out there, making mistakes, learning from each other's mistakes, making fantastic, achieving fantastic things.
Yeah.
So you learn from everything. You learn from the downfalls. You learn from the highs.
Yeah. Like, why make your own mistakes when everyone else is making
yes.
them?
And the beauty is everyone talks about it very openly, right?
Yeah.
So
and it's a safe space, and
it's a safe space, and I think I absolutely love being a member.
Yeah.
Yes, and our business has really benefited from there. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's telling you that's our goal. How soon we get there is really up to us, but definitely want to be a part of a cult.
Cult. You get to give back to the cult as well. Don't forget, you're going to go from EOA up there, and then you're going to give back to the EOA. Yeah. So
that's a good model, right? And I think it's the same thing that you have in your business. You've worked on subconsciously or consciously worked on the culture of your business, right?
Yes.
To have that vibe and feeling going on, and that is also present at studio like this or EO like that. And I think all of us are attracted to the kind of same things that we're feeling. In terms of, and this doesn't have to be only EO, but what are some of the businesses you admire? Like they could be Dubai-based businesses. So this is a question where, like, for example, if you're a musician, you would ask, like, who did you, listen to growing up, and who's your inspiration? But I wanted to just see an idea of, like, who would you, like, what are businesses now that you're in business for 8 years? You look up to certain businesses. They could be in different industries.
You look up to businesses which have social impact, actually. So I don't really get overawed by businesses who've made a lot of money. I wouldn't call them, demean them by calling them fly by night. No, you've made a mark. You're a great startup. You've made them, many $million. But I think organizations which make social impact, that kind of, at this stage of my life, that kind of moves me and motivates me. I think.
Do any of them come to mind?
Even when I talk about sustainability and all, when you see people doing something which make a difference to the, I'm not very good with remembering names. Okay, that's my
same. I'm the same, so I've totally understand.
But I think that's something which wows you in terms of you're making money and you're making a difference, and you're kind of making a difference to the environment, or say to to special needs people, trying to empower and those kind of social impact organizations.
Yeah, I'm trying to get, I'm not saying I won't get on the train, but I'm feeling what you're feeling because my eyes opened up because of EO again.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Mazin running Eduployment.
Yes.
Wow. Right? Like the impact that's having. Then Ruchir doing his thing with energy.
Yes.
Where he doesn't come from that world at all.
So sustainability, solar energy and all blows your mind, that kind of people making money. I'm like, I'll be rooting for those guys.
And these are people who are like making tons of money in their previous businesses. And they've done the capitalism thing for a long time. And even Diana, I don't know if you know Diana.
Yes, I know.
And she has that ecotourism lodge thing going. And there's one more person, Rishi, doing Fika Mobility in Kenya as well. And I started hearing about these social impact businesses only through this podcast.
Yes.
And it's completely changing my goalposts for what I want to shoot for in, when I'm able to. Is not about the...
Sometimes they're not able to sustain. Like, I know you're asking me names. I do remember one, but they closed down. But I was so overawed by them, and they didn't. I was wishing they would fly. Like Integrate. Did you know this place called Integrate?
No.
So they worked with special needs kids and all that. And I think with a little bit of support, probably they would have been able to survive. But they weren't able to get past the COVID because not everybody. Was able to, but they had a great concept running.
That's what they say, right? Like, you take care of yourself first, and then you'd be able to impact others. So you need to have like a strong source of something to go by.
Then in India, I know this business which Tata is doing with taking care of elderly people. I mean, there's a young lad who started it. I don't know, again, I'm very bad with names.
That's fine.
But the concept stays with you, it blows you away. So they provide companionship and care to the abandoned. Not, I wouldn't say abandoned, but maybe the kids are abroad and not able to kind of be there as much as they'd like to with the parents. And so these are social impact business, and they can be super profitable too.
Yeah,
great ideas. Yes.
Absolutely. Now I'm waiting for that to pick up more, because we personally know of a lot of old age people that don't have the company that they deserve.
They deserve, yes.
For a variety of reasons, whether they're good reasons or bad reasons. It's just happening so much. And our culture has a stigma against nursing homes, which they're labeled as. And all kids want is like care for their parents. Right? Whether they can be there or not, and how often they can be there or not. We all want the best.
And I just feel in this kind of things, the money profitability is also very important, because you want to ensure that it's profitable, so that there's continuity and it's sustainable, right?
Yes.
So
I think it needs to be done in a smart way. It can't just be run by the heart.
No, not just as a, like, somebody keeps pumping, you keep asking people charity. No,
exactly.
Not that way.
No, absolutely. There needs to be a mix, which is why I liked when the people that mentioned that in the EO that are doing this, they've earned their chops in how to make money.
Rana's doing it. She's an EO spouse.
Rana.
Yes.
Mazin's wife.
No. Rana, I went and visited a center once. See, I'm, again, the name
names,
thing. I get stuck.
Sorry, Rana. We'll link it in the show notes.
Yes. But she's got a center, and again, she's working with the kids, and I know she's doing it out of passion, and she's trying to keep it profitable so that they get a chance. And the way she's rooting for them.
Yeah. So my younger sister, she's 7 years younger than me, and as long as I've known her, she's been like this. She wants to impact. But I guess I would say, unfortunately, the reality of it is that you need the money machine to work for it to be a sustainable thing, because she never got the experience of that. She did her degree in public health. She cares about public health. Now she's doing her master's in public health, and she really wants to impact. And she had all these grand ideas and everything. So I'm really hoping that, as she grows and she figures out the cogs in the machine piece of it by learning it elsewhere as well, I really think she'll make us all very, very proud. If there's one person from my family that would do something of high social impact, it would be her, and I would want to support her when she gets there.
So that's where that 7-year it should lead to, I'm hoping, somewhere where some idea which can make an impact, and then that will be the icing on the cake, because then you don't have to move away from your mainstay.
Yeah.
But
yeah, absolutely.
You can add on,
Hello, everyone. I want to take a moment to share something that's really, really close to my heart. As you know, this podcast isn't just a series of episodes. It's you and I getting mentored by the wisest of the wisest. Each episode is crafted with care, aiming to bring not just stories, but wisdom and insight into the fascinating and sometimes lonely world of entrepreneurship. This is more than just a podcast. It's a personal mentorship session recorded on camera for all of us to learn and grow together. And this is where you come in. If any episode has resonated with you, your subscription or your vote means the world to me. Every subscription lights a fire inside of me and fuels me to keep delivering content that I wish had existed before I started this podcast 2 years ago. So I humbly ask for your support. Please hit pause now and find that subscribe button on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you're listening to this. It's a small action for you, but it means everything to me. Thank you for being a part of this community and for your support and for choosing to walk this path with me. Stay curious and stay inspired. Thank you so much. One of the ideas that I had that I'll share again, putting it into existence so this can be reviewed in a year, like how far did I get with that? I talk about it so much. I don't know when I'll be able to do it, but I wanted to set up a football academy for underprivileged kids in Pakistan, because I think the sport is just a beautiful way of teaching teamwork, of teaching competition, of teaching loss and how to deal with it, maintaining good health, camaraderie, and all those kind of things. I think the sport is a brilliant way of teaching life lessons. And I wanted to do this because we have, in the neighborhood that we live, a lot of these maids and drivers have their kids and they keep them at home and they don't send them to school. Or if they do, it's like the madrasas, the religious education. I want to take them away for 2 hours from the neighborhood, gather all the kids, put them in coaching for 2 hours a day, and just kind of build them up. And then when I talked to Mazen, that's when I started thinking about like, there are ways, because I always thought of a charity thing, right? This is my mind shift. I always thought this was going to be like a charity and people give me money. But then I started thinking like, okay, what if there are sponsorships? What if there are like, brands that want to seem socially responsible, that want to partner and have their names around it? And there's a way to do it while being financially stable as well. So hopefully I'll
good luck with
get to that at some point. I'd have to be there though. So I have to figure that out because I don't want to be there. Switch topics again to something you're not gonna expect. I'm gonna name 4 people, and you're gonna draw the line that connects them, and you're gonna tell me how they're connected. Okay. 4 people are: 1 is yourself, 2 is Gandhi.
Oh my God.
3 is 3 is your father, and 4 is Dalai Lama.
How did you get this?
There's more of this.
Okay.
How are all these connected?
Okay, they're all connected. But as a kid, I wore spectacles which were round. I still have them. I still have round spectacles, actually. And,
I was hoping you'd wear them today.
Yeah, I should. I wish I got a cue, Yeah, but that's a very, very core part of my identity, because I've been wearing spectacles since I was in 2nd grade. And I remember my dad, who's also called Bapu, by the way. So that's the connection.
The Gandhi connection.
Yes. And he made me feel so special about wearing them, because at that time, how girls can be, let me say, Goan people are very kind, okay? So not really what you'd expect in with kids, not very cruel. Like I wouldn't be teased or anything, but still I think for my self-esteem, he probably did it. And he had those typical Gandhi glasses for me and made me feel so special about it. And I remember just feeling so elevated and as if I was something different. And I've worn them all through my school life. And uh, of course, I was called Gandhi in school for it, which I used to wear it as, it's something to be proud of. It's
Yeah.
not like I wasn't ever ashamed or felt bad
It's not
about
like an insult.
it's
Like,
not like an
yeah, it's the
insult.
opposite of that.
Opposite, and I felt really special. I thank my dad for that.
Yeah.
But when I reached college and everyone got more hipper, and then I was called John Lennon for it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Because don't forget, he had
The
those round
70s then,
glasses as
yeah.
well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that changed. And yeah, I've always been proud of my glasses till I got my the LASIK done.
Oh, you got your LASIK done.
Yeah, yeah. So now I don't really need them, but I keep them for memory's sake.
Yeah. Do you have the ones from your childhood?
Yes, yes.
No ways.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Because they
Yeah.
were my signature. That was me,
Yeah.
signature Shilpa, yeah. And the
Yeah.
Dalai Lama is someone who I've admired, and I'm actually impressed with your research. In fact, we are hoping to get a chance to see him this February when we are trying to make a trip to McLeod. I don't know if he's there, but I'm going to give it a shot and try it.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
and
because
your
I
father's a fan as
resonate.
well, right?
Yeah, I used to resonate with his teachings and, the compassion part more. I'm not like so deeply into it, but it kind of resonates with my being in terms of,
Mhm.
the world and the community, and like a borderless, compassionate world. We were almost there, right?
Yeah.
But we lost
Yeah.
a few. I think everyone lost their way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do
but
you find yourself losing and coming back to it in and out?
no, I don't think I have lost it, but around us, I see that the world has lost it.
Yeah.
The compassion is out of the window right now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I think
yeah, so I really resonate with his teaching. I think it's easy to be kind, easy to be this. This is what impacts how you do your business, your work, and everything in life. Actually, everywhere you sit, and you have to bring it to the table. It just comes.
Yeah.
It just comes when it's a part of your being.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it resonates.
I think we're all taking, like, the world's taking a collective nap, which we need to awaken
Yes,
from a little bit, because
absolutely.
the nap is causing us to feel like our dreams are real, and our dreams right now are vividly just very self-centered
Yes,
and
true.
individualistic. And the more and more they get that, and not to blame any certain person
Yeah,
or culture for doing this, it just happens to be this way.
yeah. But
That
it's
right now,
easy. I think if we all try, compassion can be part of it. So I used to, his teachings always resonated with me. It was one thing I could kind of relate to, and was your guiding north star, kind of,
yeah,
for anything you did.
yeah,
Yeah. But I am so impressed, Naeem.
there's more coming, but I'll sprinkle them
How
here.
did you get this? Yes.
I'll
I mean, the
sprinkle them here and
Bapu
there.
and
Well, see, the connection line between these four, I knew would be like, I had to connect the
yeah,
dots
my
for
dad,
these.
everybody calls him Bapu. The whole
Yeah,
world calls him Bapu.
yeah.
Yes.
Man, I really wish, I was hoping you'd wear your glasses, but I didn't know you get. See, this is bad research. I should have known you got LASIK done.
Yeah.
Then you wouldn't wear this. Can I ask you a few more questions? So I think we have about 15 minutes before we wrap, and I'm trying to find the best ones to get to you. But before that, yeah, let's say if you go back. Actually, no. Yeah, if you could go back to the start of your business journey, knowing what you know now, what would you tell yourself to do differently, if anything?
So, there's so much you didn't know when you started out, right? So I feel, we were novices. I was new to everything, and you can't prepare yourself. I don't see how we would do it differently, because you have to start at the beginning, right? Then you're expecting everything on a platter. It's not going to happen. How are you going to start differently. You have to do it. So one of the most brilliant things, in fact, I can tell you, which really impacted the way we went out there, is our approach of, we spoke about it before we sat down, actually, the collaborative approach. So we anybody and everybody we met, it was how can we connect, and we never pushed people away. We always embraced them and were ready to sit at any table and talk about anything in the world.
Yeah.
Because we were looking at hungry to learn from the environment, the market, and ready to meet whoever and whatever we could get. So I think it was a great approach. And the first clinic where we started, so I'm answering it in a bit convoluted way.
That's fine.
Because see, when we started, it was in Motor City, right? So we've lived in the Arabian Ranches for the last, when we started the clinic, we'd already been there for, I think, more than 15 years. And the kids went to the school there, and business.
It was your neighborhood then.
Yes, our neighborhood. My business partner, Doc's neighborhood as well. And, his kids grew up there. So we kind of knew everybody around us in the most authentic way. I was a mom from that community. I was a mom. And so we did a lot of community marketing. So being out there with the moms, groups like Real Moms, and they were, so I can't see it being done differently in any way when you ask me that question, because I think that was actually a brilliant way to do it, because it got you down to the grassroots of where you were. Yeah. So everybody around, I was out there. I was literally there at those little kiosks, and, we participated in school fairs. This is pre-COVID life. I think I lost it after COVID. I mean, the community, it didn't happen after that. And the 2 new clinics after that never got that kind of head start.
Yeah.
So it was beautiful, because it was real. It was full of energy. Naturally.
Yeah.
That was the way to do it.
Like you weren't forcing it.
Not at all. We were participating in, I remember we were at all the schools around us. We were there at the fairs, and I was there personally talking to the moms, talking to the kids, interacting, because we weren't very busy, right? So our team was free as well. We were starting out. We had to. Now there's no time for them to go to the fairs, and But we were out there and making connections at the grassroots level. I think it started beautifully, and that was like a fantastic foundation to that clinic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they knew about us, and they knew we were authentic. They knew we were trying hard. They knew on all directions that we were trying to help. We were trying to add a little CSR, had something for the domestic help. We still do. So impacting all 360 degrees to the families there, because we are a family clinic.
Yeah.
You can bring your grandparents there. You can bring your kids there. And so I think that experience, and that the way we did it when we started, I wouldn't do it any other way, because that built the authenticity of the community-friendly space which we wanted to build. Yeah.
It almost reminds me of Nike when they were starting out, when Phil Knight was starting it out. He used to take his van to the track and field races.
Yeah.
And just open the whole thing, and he just sit there. He talked to all the athletes. He let them try the shoes on. He himself was just sitting there in his van, and he was making the sales from the van. But he was such an integral part of the local sports communities that he'd show up at their doorstep, like where they're running, where they're practicing, wherever they're doing their exercises.
Yeah.
And he just has a van there talking to them, every single one. Like, what did you think about this one? Like, what would you like differently on that one? And kind of go back to the drawing board and do new designs and bring them back.
It was super energizing, I remember, because we were building real connections, and people knew. I think I was known as the clinic lady, because any problems, I was available myself. My number was out there. They used to message me. And now, I mean, they all, it was a great supportive environment. Because, it's not like you're trying to push market something. down everybody's throat. No, you're trying to take care in a most authentic way with the services. And I think our values were passing through because they could see what the owners were trying to do. Yeah, the integrity and, no over prescription, because I was one of them. There's you're not trying to fleece somebody.
You're not like a salesperson hired on commission to be there to represent a brand.
Absolutely not.
You were just the lady with the clinic.
Lady with the clinic. They could feel the passion, I think.
No.
And so not knowing anything helps. So you have to remind yourself that there's nobody who knows it all. You do it your way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the reasons where Alina and I still do all our sales calls, because we want this to, what you're saying, to come across, like our values. I don't think anyone else can communicate it as well. Not because they're bad people. It's because we are we, and there's only us right now.
And you have something special, and you have to show that.
And it's our baby, and we care about it. And it only works if the customers find it useful, and that whole vibe that you have to give off.
Yes.
But really, like, kudos to you for doing it on that grassroots level. You must miss it.
I do miss it. Then COVID came, and suddenly everything went blank. And then people cautiously got back. But now, I mean, I've not really, gone back to that. But at that time, I think that was the way. Now we are known, 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers more, I think.
Yeah.
We've made a name. Everyone knows Apex Clinics.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they remember me.
Yeah.
But we've made our name.
That's the price of growth, right? Like you grow your business to a point where you don't get to do some of the things you used to do.
But I remember being super energized when we did all this, and I was getting the entire family, friends, everyone rooting from the sides, and
Yeah.
Yes. So it was most amazing. I don't think I would do it any other way.
Yeah.
It took its time. Initially, but once the growth was established and the word of mouth happens, then you've got a solid base. And now you do your work with integrity, and you know.
Yeah. And like each...
you have competent staff on board.
Yeah.
You have your specialists.
And I think I guess we're the same in this way. It gives me kind of hope, because we don't rely on too much external marketing efforts as such to get business, even though we are a marketing agency, so we should be doing that. Ours is very relationship based, where all our customers are referred by someone else, someone who's been a customer. So it's like all our clients kind of know each other too. So it's building a community of sorts as well. And they all come and go. It's the nature of the business. Sometimes you need campaigns, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you've grown out of our services, sometimes you moved away from the business. But there's always that kind of feeling, knowing that every time Alina gets a call, it's like, hey, we heard about you from XYZ, and would love to talk to you about this kind of stuff. So we like that aspect, that human aspect of the business that's going. And it's nice to hear that you enjoy that. And it's a good, you're right, foundationally, it's like the best way to do. Because if you're coming out into the business world relying extremely on marketing and a sales force, how sustainable will that be? You'll have to keep feeding that machine for it to work, without building that strong base of like that name, that brand, the lady with the clinic kind of persona in the market, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm switching gears again. We're going to do a test.
Okay.
Are you wearing a wristwatch?
You know what?
What time is
Don't
it on your
rely on
wristwatch?
this. I never put the time on this watch.
What time is it on it?
Don't ask me.
I want to see how
it's
far
1:20.
off.
Is that?
Yeah, I heard from a little birdie that...
really?
So I'm at 5:30.
Oh.
This is something that we have
so
in
we
common.
relate. Okay.
Yes.
Because I just wear this because I'm so used to wearing it.
Yeah.
And I have to remember to... What is the time anyway?
It is 1:52. But a little birdie told me that if she is wearing her wristwatch, do check if the time is...
Absolutely. Okay,
accurate.
I'm close. It's 1:20.
Mine's it works on kinetic energy.
Yeah.
Maybe yours too, right? So I have to wind it every time I re-wear it.
I have to wind it every time I really wear it.
And I never
and I wear it
remember
every time. And when I meet certain people, I make sure I put the time in there because I know they're going to come and check my watch.
Yeah. Today I didn't because I said I'm meeting one of me. She's one of us. We don't do our time.
You got me there.
That's awesome. So we're coming to a close.
Yeah.
I did want to ask one final question, and if you have any other comments after that too. But let's say I give you a billboard, and I maybe you may have heard me ask this question to other guests, but I give you a billboard on Sheikh Zayed Road, and it can't be about Apex.
Ooh.
It's non-commercial. What message would you put on there, knowing that millions of people drive by there every day, and they have a few moments to look up and see this billboard? What would you want them to see?
Wow. I would say make a new connection today.
Even the introverts?
Yeah, why not? It could be the petrol station. You can just say hello to somebody.
I like that. Make a new connection.
Yeah, make a new connection. It could be at the grocery store.
Yeah.
It could be somebody who's delivered your things at the door.
And the connection could be just like a smile.
Yes.
It could be a small interaction about the weather.
I think it feeds your soul.
Yeah. I think so. I sometimes, especially if you're having a bit of a down day, just going out and saying hello to a stranger.
Yes.
Whether it's your cashier, car wash guy, someone passing you by on the street. So when we lived in Canada, this is the thing I miss about Canada the most. All 13 years, nobody is a stranger to each other. You stand in the bus line, you say hello to whoever's standing next to you. You strike up a conversation. You're in an elevator going to a clinic somewhere. Whoever's there, you'd say hello, talk about the weather. We would always be connecting. That whole culture is based on that because it's a land of immigrants and it's a sparsely populated country for a huge landmass. I think they felt lonely. So it's a very big part of the culture where everyone's always talking to everyone else and always smiling, cheering each other up about random things. It doesn't have to be like, I want something from you. Just random something. You could walk up to any place in a neighborhood and be like, hey, are you from this neighborhood? And if they say yes, like, I'm looking for a pizza place. The days we used to be able to do that.
Yeah,
and now it's just like, look at your phone for the next pizza place.
Yes, not the bad things.
I like it. Make a new connection. We'll definitely put that on a billboard for everyone to read. Any final words from you? Anything that I didn't cover? Anything you wish I had asked you?
No, I'm really impressed with your research. Really, you totally caught me off guard with the Loja Boira thing. Yeah, you've gone deep. Yeah. So I had a wonderful time, and thank you for having me here.
No, it was lovely for me because I get a lot of inspiration from knowing that luckily there's people like you out there, because this whole business world can sometimes get very logical, very numbers driven, very soulless, if I can say that. And it's nice to hear that if you've been around 8 years with this kind of mindset, then we can do this too.
Yeah, there's a place for all of us.
Yeah. So thank you for that. Thank you for giving that reminder to us. And I'm sure Alina appreciates it as well. Thank you so much for coming. This has been a blast.
Absolute pleasure.
And I'm glad I've made a connection today. And we'll see you soon.
Yes, we have.
All right. See you soon.
We'll watch this in a year and see where we've gone from here, right?
You have some sustainability business goals, and I have a football academy to set up. So let's see. See where we get there. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.